Okay, here we are on the second night observing. I need to get a compass. I don't know what section of sky this is. This is not the same that people were saying is the planet. This is the other type, the other variety. After observing it last night, these things seem to tumble almost. It's almost like it's rotating. But I'm going to leave this on. Just continue looking at it because I'm sure that it'll move. It's definitely what I see quite often. It's becoming pretty obvious that this part of Ohio, for whatever reason, is sort of a hotbed for these things. I don't know why. Your guess is as good as mine. Look at that. Okay, let me take my glasses off so I can really look at this. I'm watching it through the LCD monitor, just basically the same view you're going to have. Look at all the colors. Somebody told me that this is, when I took some still photographs of them, they said, well, that's just a reflection of lights in the Earth's atmosphere. The atmosphere is acting like a lens. I think not. I really think not. Every night, all year round, this and all kinds of other stuff, I don't think so. So, ufologists, Brown County, Ohio. I don't know why it's not higher on the UFO rating system, but we've got our good fair share. I'm gonna see if I can center this a little better. Okay, now I'm gonna zoom just a little bit more. Sorry about the jitteriness here. It'll just be a moment while I get this thing focused. As you can see, this one is quite obviously trying to remain stationary as best as possible. It's really trying not to move at all. Get my glasses off once again. Just checking it out. Disappeared. I'm going to zoom out just a tiny bit so that we can keep this thing. Yeah. Okay, come on. Alright, let's keep it there, because I want to see this thing. It's going to go right across the screen. Again, this is on a tripod. It is completely still except for when I'm moving it to be in focus. And we'll watch this thing go left to right pretty easily. The time is around 1:30 or 1:45. I just saw an interesting light coming over my way. Probably just a plane. In the sky, by the way, in the night sky, I see at least about 5 others of these in other areas. Look at that. Wish I knew what these were. And I'm pretty confident that tonight, at probably around 4 or 5 in the morning, I'm hoping to catch this one, which is like a green globe that it has the same behavior where it's attempting to keep a hovering position, but I've come out here some mornings and seen it just going wild, zigging and zagging. There was one time in particular which confirmed for me that I need to start kind of filming this stuff, because, oh, that's interesting. There's a plane that just kind of went overhead of it, and as you can see in the, it didn't disappear, it's just focus. Okay. But there was one night when I saw that orange kind of glowing globe. It was zigging in a way that just made me think it was going to wreck. It seemed like it was out of control. And it was low. I mean, it wasn't like it was... And that's what a lot of these share in common, is that you can tell that they're in our atmosphere. They always tend to be lower on the horizon, such as this one. Unfortunately, this is, I know, not going to be worth much as far as video footage, because these ones are usually only able to be filmed in the pitch black of night. I wish I could give you a frame of reference. It's just a little bit above the tree line over here. Well, yeah, so much different. It's a different tree line than the one that you can see in Dawn and my other videos. Yeah. That plane, it seems like it went down and turned around and it's going the other way. It's definitely a plane. The other thing, you can't see red and white flashing lights. But yeah, I can see, let's see, 1, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of these in the sky right now. This one happens to be flickering the most. It has the most luminosity, as it were, so it's easier for me to capture on here. But as far as evidence of UFOs goes, I know that this is going to be easy to discredit. I'm going to keep filming them anyway, whenever I see them, because they really intrigue me. But I know I don't have like a frame of reference for you guys to kind of see where it is. It's just pitch black. Part of that's because I have to actually, well, even if I'm not zoomed in to begin with, as I'm kind of zooming in, figuring out where it is exactly in the sky, it's still just pitch black as far as your ability to see it. I've tried this on various scene modes. This one's on night landscape. I'm using an Olympus SZ12 with a 24 zoom. Oh, no, that's just a plane still. It's curious though. We really don't have any reason to have a lot of air traffic around here ever, and yet we always do. We got quite a bit. Nope. Did I lose it? Okay. Let's get this puppy in view. Now again, I'm zoomed into this thing, so to the naked eye, this thing doesn't appear to have moved all that much from where I first started observing it. Whoa. We might actually see a plane coming near it here in a second. Let me get it up a little. Come on. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, come on. Let me zoom out. Okay, good. Hopefully we'll see this plane that's coming in, too. Oh, no, I don't see it. I swear there was a plane coming up over it. Yeah, it's really bizarre out here, I'll say that. What the hell's that? Oh wow, that thing got quick. The plane's much further off right now. Yeah, that other one too, it's not a plane, that's one of my friends. You see, I started to want to document this because it's almost for my own sanity, to make sure that I'm not going crazy or losing my mind, because I will see these things in the night sky, and I'll grab people and I'll say, hey look, these are moving to me, but I have more patience and probably time than most people have for this sort of thing. I've always been fascinated by, by the idea of UFOs, admittedly. I remember as a little boy, I wanted to have my wallpaper be of the universe, My parents remember that. I don't know how old I was at the time. I got instead Coca-Cola wallpaper. And I saw my first UFO actually when I think I was about 13. It wasn't a really kind of a huge deal. I always remembered it, but I sort of cataloged it in the things I couldn't really explain folder of my life. But basically I was in the front yard of a friend, and we were squirting each other with his hose, and for some reason, there's no reason why my eye should have been attracted to this thing, but I found this little white dot hanging out in the sky. His back was turned to it, of course. And I remember at the moment of seeing it, I was thinking about telling him, hey, turn around and look. And as I'm kind of going over that in my mind, the thing darts off across the sky just as quickly as I could move my finger. And I just thought to myself, which is interesting because I'm not the type of person who's like afraid to profess strange things. But I decided that I would not share that with him, and we just went along playing. Aside from that, I had not seen any ever again, as far as I know. Here comes a plane my way or something. I had not seen any again until last year, summer of 2011, and I can really literally see these things every night. As long as the night is clear, I'm going to definitely observe this specific kind. And then occasionally there's these bright orb ones that come off in another area of the sky, and then at times I'll see these zigging orange ones, which I'm really excited to get on camera, because those have some of the most obvious movement and also the most curious movement, because they're so usually they're just not far above the tree line. Okay, I don't have a whole lot of time left on this to record, about 10 minutes, so I'll do that, and then I'll go in and I'm going to get rid of all these videos on my thing, and so that I can record more tonight, because it's always an active night out here in Brown County. But when this started happening, I'll tell you that story quickly. Well, I'll tell you part of it. There's actually quite a bit to it. It's a very spiritual experience is all I can say about it. But something very kind of weird happened to me that summer, and one night I had my first kind of UFO sighting. Let me get this back in. One night I had my first UFO sighting. Although, technically, I hesitate to say that. It was kind of like a knowing, is all I can put it. That's the only way I can describe it. It was just this little kind of very bright dot, maybe 3, 4 in the morning, near the moon. And as is often the case sometimes out here, there's nothing else in the sky. No other stars, nothing visible. Just the moon and this dot, and I just knew. And again, there was something that precipitated this that I can't really go into. I think there might be something behind this tree over to my right. Really bright light kind of peer through it. So there was that, and then, I don't know, maybe it was a couple of days later. I'm not the best with dates all the time, but this is going to help me catalog all of that. I went on my back porch, and, it wasn't out of the corner of my eye. I was actually looking out into an area of the sky that I can actually see. And, by the way, there was kind of dry lightning going on in the distance. So this could be marked as ball lightning, but I don't call it ball lightning. It was too weird. I saw this white orb, very kind of small. If you've ever seen the Jerusalem videos, the Jerusalem UFO video, it kind of had that quality to it, where it was definitely in my yard. That was the weirdest thing about it. Definitely in my yard, and it kind of zoomed between my house and my barn. And I'm looking off to the right of my barn thinking it's going to zoom off and continue on into the sky. I didn't see anything. Now, I wear glasses, so immediately the first thing I did, because anybody who's wearing glasses knows this, I started to try to replicate a glare. And I couldn't do it. And it wasn't long after that I started to realize that there was a really strange amount of air traffic going on up above me. And I was seeing, I think it was about 4 or 5 planes above. I'm guessing they were planes. And they, at times, were going. I saw a couple of them go side by side, flying in like almost like a formation across the sky, and I could see them on the horizon, then making a turn and coming back again, over, which was weird. And so the really interesting thing is, then I had kind of my best fighting it, because that dry lightning was happening all night long in the early morning hours. And I was sitting here at the bottom of my driveway, which is where I am now, pointing up into the sky in a completely different direction. But basically there was these two, the whole sky was pretty much, wasn't really much of a star in the sky that you could observe. But there was these two kind of bright points of light off in the distance, not near each other. You know, I need to learn some astronomy here or something to figure out the distance between objects better. But they were a good distance away from each other. And underneath, for hours, I was observing this dry lightning phenomenon. Literally, like, perfectly underneath each ball of light. And I headed that up with the little weird orb thing in my front yard and all the plane activity, and I thought, you know, this is something weird. It's something beyond the norm out here. And I just knew. And so the first thing I did was I went out inside and got on the web and looked up lightning and UFOs, and sure enough, you know, the best footage I saw was actually from NASA, where they have these sometimes huge ships coming out of lightning storms. And I guess the theory behind all that is that they're perhaps using the Earth's atmosphere to gather energy. And that would make sense. I mean, if you're going to be... I'm just, you know, conjecturing here totally. I don't know what any of this stuff is. But if you were going to come into... or if you were going to travel great distances, you would need to have some sort of renewable source of energy. Yeah, let me get this back in. I only got 3 minutes left of recording. But you would need some sort of renewable source of energy, right? And what better way to derive energy than from something that's naturally occurring and something that provides, if able to be harnessed. I mean, we already know that like one lightning bolt can just power quite a bit. And maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. Obviously, none of us do. And maybe there are some that say they do, and I find those individuals interesting too. I'm able to, maybe that's not the best thing, but I'm able to listen to people with more of an open mind now about their own experiences, including abduction, including all this, because it's just so obvious to me anymore. They say seeing is believing. Yeah, that's true. I knew that these videos aren't going to be mind-blowing to anyone, probably. If you're going to believe, if you believe in this sort of thing, or if you've ever observed it, as some of us have, there'll be no doubt in your mind. But let me see if I can zoom in a little more. There'll be no doubt in your mind what they are. But then, people who were not here, people who are just looking at a video of a light in the sky that's moving, then they want to come around and say, oh, well, it's this, or oh, well, it's that. I've heard weather balloons. I've heard planet. I've heard all kinds of things. And the atmosphere thing. Those are the three explanations I've heard. It's just sort of like, you know, talk about going out of your way to explain these things. But then if it were like a plane or something, they'd just go, oh, that's a plane. But if it's not something that they can make sense of, then I think maybe it's out of fear. They have to start hopping to other strange kind of conclusions. Strange in my book, anyway. Let me get this centered. I'm going to stop this video here in a minute, but just trying to see if I can get in any closer to this thing. Nope. Okay, I only got a minute and a half left to record. Let's get this back in the center. No, it's not center, but shit. Sorry, this is jerky at the end because I don't have much time to record left. And there we go. Okay, there we go. Now it's still again. Got a minute and 9 seconds left, so I'll be ending here, but I wanted to end it with it in frame. So enough of filming that one tonight. I'll continue looking out here in the night sky this evening and be looking out for other interesting things to film for you. Have a good night. This is Ohio UFOs signing off. Look up into the skies, people.